Noxie, let's have a look at a report that we had earlier last month, actually, towards the end of last month, filed by SAPA.
After attacks and looting in Soweto, foreign nationals are now unsettled in the country. Most of them were assisted to take their stock from their stores and relocate to what they felt were safer surroundings. Although they appreciated the help from the police, the foreign nationals say that they were hurt by what has befallen them.
And now I'm just, I come from my country without no peace. I make better to come here, this country. So now you see it in my shop, and they were trying to help the police, but some of them took the stuff, and also I'm not feeling well now. I'm worried about myself, if I can be safe or if I can be die now. The people, you can as you see it, the people they are trying now. So I don't know, guys. Good luck.
Johannesburg Metro Police escorted 5 trucks loaded with goods a group of Bangladeshi managed to save when their shops were looted to Furysburg, where they said they would be safer. Police were dispatched on high alert, and the provincial commissioner said that the looting was a result of youth being overzealous.
We're dealing with youth. They group themselves, they go and loot at the shop. When the police arrive, they run away, they go to the next shop. So the police are busy chasing them around. And a number of them came to us and asked for assistance in retrieving their property, the groceries and so forth. Yes, our local police escorted them out of Soweto to where they said that they are going to their boss. So these are employees, these are not owning these shops. They told us that they were going to their boss, and we are giving them assistance as they require, because there are also people that we should protect.
The violence was sparked by the death of 14-year-old Mteteleli Sipiwe Mahori in Snake Park on Monday, who was allegedly shot by a shopkeeper who fired at a group of people who supposedly wanted to rob him. After the shooting, residents went on a rampage in apparent revenge, attacking foreign nationals and looting their shops.
Now, Nokolo, you spoke to Rose Nkosi. She's from the SA Spaza and Tuck Shop Association, and her association has quite an interesting stance. Why don't you tell us, what was the crux of what Rose spoke to you about?
Well, I had a very long and very detailed conversation with Rose regarding kind of the stance of SASTA, which is the South African Tuck Shop and Spaza Shop Association. And pretty much the mandate that they have at the moment is that they feel that locals should have monopoly over their communities and be able to run their tuck shops. And at the moment, a lot of the concern is that they feel that foreign nationals actually have a monopoly because a lot of their items are much cheaper. So what they are asking for at the moment is that they do leave a lot of their communities in the township areas, and that she also stressed, though, that her members did not take part in the looting, and that in fact it was the youths who are now, don't have work, who don't have jobs because of the foreign nationals. So we see there's a lot of responsibility put on the foreign nationals for having their own companies there, as being responsible for this kind of lack of employment.
So the call from SASTA is basically for foreign nationals to leave certain communities in the country because they have the monopoly on work. Let's listen to some of what Rose said.
Okay. The mandate that I'm carrying to the government is my members are saying they don't want to see these foreign people in their businesses, because they are all even men. They are even scared that these people are doing as if they are traders, and yet there's something they are planning around South Africa, because all of them, it's men as if they are soldiers. And again, they are children. They are young children are starting to have children from these people, because they are buying them out with sweets and biscuits and telephones. So now they cannot stand this. The country is becoming overpopulated. The country is uncontrollable. Electricity is too high. It cannot be able, to service all these people that are in the country. So my member said, enough is enough.
James, I'm sure you have a lot to say in response to Rose. Let's start off with what she said at the beginning. That's they don't want to see foreign nationals in positions where they own businesses. And then later on in that sound clip, Rose said that the country is already overpopulated. Government can hardly control the people in this country. We just don't need more people. I'm certain you have a response to that.
Well, I mean, it's a very sad story that we hear only too often, unfortunately. I think part of it has got to do with the failure to engage about the benefit of the foreign populace in the country. As an example, there's a Zimbabwean gentleman who I spoke with about a year ago, and he runs a factory in Johannesburg, and he hires 100 South African nationals in his factory. But he also fled from his country at a time in which it wasn't safe for him to be there. But he's giving back to the community. In terms of the foreign shop owners, if we take it down to the spaza shop level, there's a real sort of benefit to the community to being able to receive and purchase goods at a price at which they can afford. There is and can be more sort of working together between foreign populations and South African populace, and I don't think it serves anyone to make a blanket statement like they should leave or they should get out of the country. First of all, because it's inhumane. Second of all, because there's no real basis, because as far as I see things, and all the research that has been done supports that there's only really benefit that comes from having the foreign populace here. And then the third is just a practical reason that foreign population is part of South African society. I mean, there are hundreds of thousands of foreign nationals in South Africa. And so, as I mentioned a few moments ago, we should be looking at solutions and possible areas of sort of synergy and working together, rather than making blanket statements of, getting rid of or removing the foreign population.
James, I want you to speak to us a little bit more about some of the research that you've mentioned, especially in light of the fact that our Minister of Local Businesses or Small Businesses, Lindiwe Zulu, made a very inflammatory statement saying that South Africans are essentially doing a favor to foreign nationals in the country by letting them be here, and that foreign nationals should share their trade secrets instead of just prospering and keeping it to themselves. So what do you say to that?
Okay, well, first of all, there is no onus or burden placed upon foreign nationals living in South Africa. And the reason for that is particularly those that, I can speak to refugees and asylum seekers because that's my particular area of expertise. These are individuals who have fled their country fearing persecution. They can't return. And in terms of our legislation, which is very progressive, it says that such individuals can work and or study in the country while their claims are being determined, and also once they have been determined to be recognized refugees. As such, there's no requirement that one comes and provides trade secrets or comes and works with XYZ condition, because one of the conditions in people coming having fled their country is that the state to a large extent doesn't give any assistance, any social support in the way that it does for South African nationals. So already foreign nationals are on a lower footing and are more vulnerable and in a harder position than a South African national. Now if you want to add additional requirements, there doesn't really seem to be a basis for such an argument. That said, there are projects. There's a project in Khayelitsha where you have foreign nationals imparting their skills, particularly Congolese nationals with braiding and styling of hair. And in exchange, South African nationals are teaching with respect to beading and certain other skills that they have. And there's a sort of a cross-pollination, if you will, the learning from one another. And that is only to the benefit of the South African populace, the benefit of the foreign nationals, and the benefit of the country as a whole, which benefits from both industries. So, I think that should be the approach taken, rather than saying, if you're here, you have to impart your skills. And also it's neglecting all the efforts and the work that has been done towards integration and communities working together.
Absolutely. Let's have a look a little bit more at an Africa Check article that was published in Business Day. It's a fact, it says, foreigners do not steal jobs. And that's a lot of what we heard, especially in 2008, that these attacks happened on foreign nationals in South Africa because there was this belief that people who are not South African by birth are somehow stealing our jobs. But as you mentioned earlier, research shows that the country really only benefits from having foreign nationals.
Yeah. I mean, I think that this is an example, like there are many, of sort of stigmatization of ideas, and you hear misunderstandings about, foreign nationals are here to steal jobs. Foreign nationals smell a certain way. Foreign nationals take the South African woman from our men. There are a number of sort of misconceptions, and there's a lot of sort of stigmatization. And one of the key solutions or things that needs to happen is one needs to work towards exploring what the concrete facts are and educating the populace. So in the instance of the article that you just mentioned, the fact that foreign nationals aren't stealing and taking jobs. In fact, to the contrary, they are assisting and helping with the economy. They are providing jobs. They are where jobs are created. It's usually them themselves that are creating the jobs, rather than taking away a job that would otherwise be held by a foreign national. Another thing that perhaps would be very useful is to make it easier perhaps from a government perspective for foreign nationals with special skills and particular skills to use and assist the country with those skills, because you have amazing sort of teachers, nurses, doctors coming from foreign countries, often these foreign nationals who fled their countries, and one could be assisting and helping the South African economy, the South African populace with these skills, rather than putting up so many barriers to that you have somebody who's a qualified nurse or a qualified matric teacher working in a job that doesn't require nearly the same level of skills because they can't access those avenues.
And especially when we consider the challenges that we face in South Africa, where we desperately need teachers, and yet we have so many qualified teachers who come to us from other countries that we simply just don't want to allow to teach.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, there are mechanisms one can work through, sort of foreign workforce management, and use the channels that are available, but it is an uphill battle. And if it were made easier, it would be to the benefit of, as you say, the South African populace, certainly. Particularly with the state of education as it unfortunately is at the moment.